I apologize in advance. I have sometimes been accused of talking too fast and failing to enunciate my words. So if I start doing that, just start moving your hands, not that. First things first, I would like to acknowledge and thank Mr. and Mrs. Lawal. This entire celebration is really beautiful and a perfect setting for such a happy event. And my parents, Mr. and Mrs. Straights, for your generosity to the wedding festivities. Tara, you look beautiful tonight. Jeremy. When Jeremy asked me to be in the wedding party, I was truly honored to be part of such a small, selective, exclusive group. Then when I realized that there were over 20 such special people in the wedding, I didn't feel as honored anymore. But when he asked me to be the best man, I felt that rush of pride return. I'm not saying that the size of this wedding party is overkill, but there are more people in this wedding party than are allowed in total by both teams on an NFL football game. Obama's Team 6 that got Osama bin Laden had less people in it than this wedding. I wanted to be polite, so I made a note to myself to make sure I said hello to each person in the wedding party before the night was over. But do you realize that if everyone in this wedding party had a short chat with everyone else in this wedding party, that would be over 300 conversations. If we were going to do that, we probably should have started like an hour and a half. The good news is that it's the bride's day and she reaps the benefits twofold. On one hand, she gets the big, beautiful wedding that she deserves. And on the other, she exponentially increases her, I put you in my wedding, so you will probably put me in your wedding. And Tara loves being in weddings. As I sat down to write this toast, I thought to myself, what can I say about this wedding that hasn't already been illustrated by Tara on her blog, Flickr, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, JeremyandTaraGettingMarried.com, TaraLawal.com, engagement photos website. I started thinking about my brother Jeremy and what kind of person he has become. There's a common phrase I seem to hear all the time when people are talking about Jeremy. He's a good guy, great guy, that Jeremy's a really good guy. And when you hear people say it, it's not in that obligatory way that people sometimes rattle off false praise to others. When people call Jeremy a great guy, they say it in a way and with a tone that tells you that they really mean it. They say it in a way that says, I really like this guy, and you would too. I would explain more, but I doubt I need to. Everyone in this room knows Jeremy and the type of person that he is, so I can be sure that you all know exactly what I'm talking about. That's one of the best compliments a person could really get, isn't it? Everyone who comes in contact with Jeremy appreciates his warm demeanor, his friendly smile, his open mind, his sharp wit, his sense of humor, his compassion for others, his passion for his work, his music, for his friends and family, and his general zest for life. When we were kids, we were 4 years apart in age, so we could play together, but we had to handicap the events. For example, we couldn't just put boxing gloves on and fight, because it just wasn't fair because of the size difference. Our fix was to have Jeremy hide in the dark room, and I'd walk into it from a lighted room. Jeremy would pop out of a corner and get at least 1 or 2 good shots in before I even knew what was going on. There have always been little things like this throughout life. We have always been able to enjoy each other's time, but there was always an inequality in it all. When he was in middle school, I went to high school. When he was in high school, I was starting college. When he started college, I had to get a real job. When he got a real job, I was getting married. I consider today the finish line to that chase. I really don't think of Jeremy as my little brother anymore. We're men, brothers, and friends. I am beyond happy to see him marry the woman he loves today, and I am so proud of the man he's become. When I first met Tara, it didn't take long for me to notice how perfect she was for my brother. So many of the qualities I see in Jeremy, I also see in her. Tara is kind, compassionate, intelligent, witty, gregarious, and enthusiastic. I am so happy that Jeremy has brought her and her great family into our lives and has joined us. Jeremy and Tara just fit. Their rapport is something that is so rarely found in a couple. Usually when a guy tells me that his wife is his best friend, it makes me want to gag. But when you're around Jeremy and Tara, you can tell that they are the genuine best friends couple. Jeremy and Tara are perfect complements to each other. I once sat in a room and watched Jeremy explain to Tara that the fact that they were moving to another country the next day and didn't have a place to live yet Wasn't a big deal and shouldn't cause worry. Tara looked at me with a face that expressed two opposing sentiments simultaneously. One was, I can't believe I'm dating an idiot. And at the same time, you could see the worry run off of her face. Something about Jeremy's logic and the fact that they were making the journey together calmed her in a way that was strange to witness. They ground each other in a way that is fun to be around. They're one of the rare couples whose whole is so much more valuable than the sum of their parts. Thanks, Jeremy. Cue cards are good when you staple them together with the I would like to share a short story that I believe serves two purposes, one for the bride and one for the groom. I think every groom deserves at least one embarrassing story in his wedding toast. And I believe every bride deserves one last chance to reconsider the choice she has made for the future father of her children. One day in college, Jeremy learned a trick from an acquaintance that he thought was pretty cool. The trick was to take a full beer bottle and smack your hand against the top of it, which should create pressure in the bottle so strong that it forces the bottom of the bottle to fall right off. Once the structure of the bottle has been compromised by removing the bottom should easily shatter, like in the movies, if tapped even gently against another surface. Jeremy was getting inebriated with some friends, some of them are in the room right now, and decided to demonstrate this experiment in the name of physics and comedy. He smacked the bottle several times to no avail. Another friend of his said, "Let me try it," and got it on the first try. Jeremy's thunder had been stolen. Not to be outdone, believing he held the trump card in his pocket, he pulled the bottle from his friend's hand, knocked it against his own head with a smile. His friends were very impressed. Not by the trick, but by the amount of blood hemorrhaging from Jeremy's pocket. Thanks to Tony,
what's up, bud?
Thanks to Tony, who quickly grabbed a bath towel and a roll of duct tape, and duct taped the bath towel to Jeremy's head. Jeremy looked so ridiculous that when he got to the emergency room, before caring for him, the doctor asked if he could take a picture of him. True story. Lesson learned, right? Wrong. Jeremy had a bandage around his head the next morning as he woke up and used the bathroom. He saw someone had left a full beer on the counter from the party the night earlier. Frustrated that he never conquered the bottle trick, he decided to try again. He smacked the top of the bottle, which proceeded to fly out of his hand against the sink and shatter into a million pieces that flew up into his face and his bandaged head. This is one of my favorite stories of all time. And Tara, if you leave now, no one will hold it against you. Being the best man, a married man, and the older brother, I feel triple responsibility to give Jeremy some strong marriage advice. I asked around and went online and I got some ideas. Someone told me, happy wife, happy life. I thought about that for a second, but that could make for a whipped husband, and nobody wants to be that guy. I had a joke here about a whipped guy, but my wife told me not to tell it. Another person told me that the secret to a good marriage is to laugh a lot, but that can't be right because I told my wife the other day that I would either vacuum the living room or tell her a joke. And she didn't pick the joke. I found a few more cliches and none of them impressed me. In the end, I decided to ignore outside advice. I thought about the things that I think make a strong marriage, the characteristics that I strive to embody day in and day out. As a husband. Period. The answer was so close all along and sounded silly at first, but I thought of the golden rule. As children, we are all told to do unto others as we would have them do unto us. Unfortunately, so many of us abandon this philosophy as we grow older. Jeremy, do unto Tara as you would have her do unto you. Love her like you wish to be loved. Honor her like you wish she would honor you. Respect her as you would like to be respected by her. Be her everything and she will be yours.